this is one that Andrew has kind of been trying to tee me up for a few episodes now, and I've been right on the fence, and we came into it. Donny liked it, so I'm into it. I know who's going to win the fight, but this week's fight is Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, versus a werewolf.
That is correct.
Yeah. And we are playing by standard werewolf rules.
Yep, not
whatever that means to you. Standard werewolf, like
SWR,
criteria.
standard werewolf rules. Yep.
Yeah, whatever that is to you is how you play. Because you know what we mean, folks. There's a lot of different forms of werewolves out there. But to get into it, I know. Do you want to start us off, or do you want me to go?
I will just say that I'm very excited for this one because I knew we wanted to do Steve Irwin, and I was like, Steve Irwin versus a werewolf, it's perfect. He's dealt with every animal on the planet. Here's something that doesn't exist. Let's see how he matches up. And you said, no way we're doing Steve Irwin versus a werewolf. Finally, I wore you down, and here we are getting to talk about it. But the original one was Teddy Roosevelt versus a werewolf. And this one is definitely better. Teddy Roosevelt, he's like a wilderness guy.
This is what I deal with on a day-to-day basis. Like how... All right, so I'll jump right in then here and say, I love Steve Irwin. I really do. He's done great things for the world. His kids are still doing great things for the world. The way that he died is sad. But at the end of the day, we have to say he died to a stingray. How the fuck is he going to fight a werewolf?
And
Andrew?
Here's what you need to realize, Matthew.
The stingray, he didn't let the stingray kill him.
Matthew, let me say it.
Don't yell at me.
Steve Irwin let that stingray kill him.
What?
Yeah, see, this is what I deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Steve Irwin let that stingray kill him because he was obviously very close to that animal, and he was obviously very perceptive to what animals were feeling. That's how he was able to manage so many of them. He knew that this thing was scared and was probably going to lash out, and he didn't want to spook it any more than it had to. He let the stingray kill him to cause the stingray less distress because he loved animals more than his own life, and he proved that with his death.
Okay, so how's he going to kill a werewolf?
What if the werewolf gets like emotionally uncomfortable around him?
Exactly.
He's just going to blow his own brains out?
Fight's over. There goes every fucking point that you were going to try to make.
How do you figure that he let a stingray
and remember, a stingray there's only one way that a stingray can kill you. There's only one. Werewolf, I mean...
plethora.
Yeah, it could kill you in multiple different ways.
Teeth, claws.
Yeah.
Standard werewolf.
However, I will say that Steve Irwin was better at dealing with animals with teeth and claws than he was stingrays, apparently.
There's a thing. Yeah. He obviously had a very heightened sense of when it came to these dangerous animals. He was ready to go. The guy had 10 fingers. Let's just think about that for a second. Dealing with crocodiles, venomous, crazy big snakes, all kinds of animals with big, crazy teeth and claws every day for his whole fucking life.
Still had all his phalanges.
10 fingers. Fucking shop teachers don't have 10 fingers. They're not messing with crocodiles.
Yeah, all they're teaching
How many shop teachers do you hang out with? Like, how many do you know of?
I know.
If you know more than one, it's the wrong answer.
I think
we had 3. We had 3
at our high school.
Yeah.
What the
enough to count on one of their hands.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll give you that. Shop teachers lose fingers trying to teach you how to make a little what are those cars thing? You know what I'm talking about? Soapbox derby.
Soapbox derby.
Yeah,
that's I don't know.
Whatever.
It sounds right.
Yeah,
nothing crazy. And yeah, he could. So I'm not saying that he doesn't have the ability to deal with these animals in a way that most people couldn't. But we're talking about a mythological creature that apparently can only be killed by like a silver bullet.
Yeah. Which Steve Irwin would. Well, it's just silver. It doesn't have to be a bullet.
So it could be a silver stake because he doesn't have a gun.
It could be a silver anything. You could kill it with a silver spoon.
Well, that's definitely.
I'm pretty sure
we'll give him the benefit of the doubt and give him like a.
Is there prep time? Like.
I'm not going to say there's prep time, but I disagree. To say that Steve Irwin doesn't just have a silver.
I think that there is. I think that there is prep time
There has to be.
There's prep time for Steve. There's no prep time for the werewolf. What happens is...
what would he even do?
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, well, I'm going to turn into a werewolf tonight, so I got to be ready.
Stretching.
Yeah. So stretching the night before the full moon.
Do they stretch? I mean, think about when they howl. You know, they're
they definitely.
That's like a yoga pose.
They're very limber.
Think about when a dog wakes up in the morning. The first thing they do is get a good stretch in.
Yeah.
Werewolves definitely
So the
stretch.
werewolf is limbered up. Steve Irwin's got some type of silver contraption.
I think that Steve Irwin's going into this fight as prepared as he can be. I think he's going on a classic Steve Irwin adventure, knowing very well that he has a solid chance of having to fight a werewolf to death by himself.
Mm-hmm. And again, to fight, to interact with, he didn't really fight these animals, but to come so close to situations where he could have potentially been really hurt or killed even, all he had with him was his short shorts and his boots. And he did pretty well for himself. I think that Steve goes in, because his whole approach to this animal wrangling type thing is very calm, low, ready for a quick movement, because he knows from dealing with the snakes, dealing with the crocodiles, that when you are face to face with an animal or a creature like this werewolf, things can go from 0 to 100 like that. And he's always ready. So I think it's going to be very difficult for this werewolf to actually pull one over on him.
Yeah,
almost
exactly.
always.
Son of a bitch, Donny.
I mean,
son of a bitch.
Yeah. I mean, R.I.P. my man, but like, nah. I came into this thinking I was going to pick Steve Irwin. I even think I said that to you outside, but
collusion.
Like even with prep time, like you brought up, he cares about animals. Like, does he even have it in him? Like, if he physically could kill this werewolf, would he? Like,
because that would defeat your whole point of
no. Let me tell you what the difference is. A werewolf is obviously is a human being that, to no fault of their own or consent, gets turned into this monstrous beast that they have no control over, and oftentimes will kill people or turn other people into werewolves. And every werewolf that you hear says that it's a curse and that it's a terrible thing that they wouldn't wish on anybody.
So I think you take the moral aspect of it out.
Well, I think that the moral aspect for Steve Irwin is that he needs to kill this guy.
Yeah. It's a civic duty at that point.
That's right.
That's a fair argument as far as like his
grit, if he's got the sandpaper to do it. Yeah.
Which he's got sandpaper.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Irwin is a gritty guy. But at the end of the day, and I don't know the statistics off the top of my head, but I have to assume that once you become a werewolf, you are instantly bigger, stronger, and faster, and have an uncanny ability to like hunt compared to the average human. Is that probably factually correct?
Yeah, I mean, you're an animal.
Yeah. So I think that right there almost takes Steve Irwin out of the question. Because I know that, like, I guess in movies, I don't know if this ever happened in real life, but people in movies fight wolves and they win sometimes. Liam Neeson did it once.
Mm-hmm.
But
some little Jack Daniels bottles, that's all you need. If you give Steve, that is more than Steve Irwin needs.
Yeah.
You know that.
But I feel like werewolves, because they still have a little bit of human in them, they're able to stand up on 2 feet. Like they're humongous.
Yeah, they're man wolves.
I just don't think that. I mean, I think he has the willpower. I think he has all the things that you would need to stand a chance in a fight against a werewolf, except for physical attributes. The werewolf just has him too cooked on physical attributes because. So I guess I should ask this question. I don't know. As far as a werewolf goes, if you just cut them with silver, are they going to die, or do you have to is that just the only way you can kill them, like by stabbing them in the heart?
I've heard it both ways. That sometimes all you need
is like a slice.
Is like a little boop, and then. But I think it makes more sense to me.
It has to be
not that I'm a werewolf doctor anymore, but yeah, not that even a stab to the heart, just that you got to kill him with silver somehow. A lethal blow.
Via silver.
Typically lethal blow.
Because I think that if he could get away with, almost like it was like a poison like sword with just like a slice and the werewolf dies, I think that then it becomes a completely different fight. But I don't think that he'd be able to compete with a werewolf that's like because if a werewolf's looking at Steve Irwin and knows that it's life or death, a werewolf's going to go apeshit.
But again, Steve Irwin, because it's not a man versus a man, it's a man versus an animal. And what man is better against an animal than Steve Irwin? He's used to this sort of. That's what I've been saying this whole time.
I've been alive for 22 years. I've never even been, knock on wood, I've never even been close to death by animal. Steve Irwin, master animal guy. Again, he died via animal. I understand what you're saying, and I actually think that after hearing you explain it, it's the most logical that you've sounded in this whole Steve Irwin let the animal kill him argument. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a rough start.
Yeah.
I'm still wrapping my head around that. Well, okay, Steve Irwin against just like your average bear. Because a werewolf would...
I would rather fight a werewolf than a bear.
I actually
and I'll tell
agree
you why.
with that. I think he has a better chance because I think the silver gives him a better chance because that lethal blow with the silver will kill a werewolf. Where if you're fighting like a grizzly bear is fucking Steve Irwin up, by the way.
Anybody.
But whatever, even if we give you the same tool that we give, like, it doesn't have to be silver necessarily, but like that blow is not killing that bear instantly like it would the werewolf.
Yeah, bears.
Because if you hit that what I imagine, again, this is folklore of werewolves. If you hit that werewolf with a lethal blow with silver, he's gonna instantly like die and turn back into a human and be a dead human laying there.
Correct.
Whereas if you stab a grizzly bear, that bear's just gonna be more pissed. That thing's gonna rip your face off.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But what about like if a bear and a werewolf ran into each other?
Bear.
Ooh,
Bear.
Grizzly bear.
Can a bear turn into? Can a bear?
Grizzly bears
get
are
like turned
fucking
into a werewolf?
humongous.
I don't think so.
No.
Can any?
I think it's like a human thing.
I think that like a full grown like male grizzly bear is beating just about any. And I watched the Jungle Book last night, so like I watched Baloo fight what's his name?
Shah Khan.
Yeah,
we
Shah
were just
Khan.
talking about him.
And I mean he puts up the best fight on anybody. Like a big ass bear is a violent ass animal.
Yeah.
People talk about all the time like grizzly bear versus gorilla.
I've had this conversation for hours.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm team grizzly bear. Like I don't think that there's many things that can kill a bear of that size that's not like a gun.
Yeah. Talk to me about a hippo.
Hippos are fucked up too.
Because those things like
more
sure
people,
it's going to take
they
some,
kill
the
more
amount of people
animals
that
or they
die
kill more
by
people
hippo
than any other animal.
is like a lot.
Yep.
like
It's the most.
Like that hippo is going to be fucked up at the end for sure either way, but like assuming it wins the fight.
Like hippos have pretty thick skin too.
Oh, for sure.
Which definitely is
but
an
like
advantage.
grizzly bear, like their claws are like 10 inches.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
like-
that'd be
humongous.
that'd be a very interesting thing to watch.
But so, all right, so I say we end this now because
Okay.
it's not going any further. Honestly, I actually think that after comparing it to a grizzly bear, that Steve Irwin has a better chance against the werewolf than I initially thought. But I think I'm going to stick with my guns here and go with the werewolf over Steve Irwin.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. The silver argument did get me closer though. Once we started talking about that, like, and the whole bear thing, but I'm still going werewolf.
Yeah.
I just think that Steve Irwin is so in tune with all creatures,
But
big and small, real or fake, that he is just he's so. Think about dogs and wolves in general,
Can I say
right?
one thing before you finish this point, though?
Okay.
I think that the argument that you're getting at comes into play in a lot of situations, but not when, like, this werewolf. There's no option other than this werewolf either kills you or you kill this werewolf. Like, I think if he has a run-in with a wild animal that maybe, like, wants to kill him and he doesn't necessarily want to kill it, he can kind of, like, use his own kind of, like, energy to relax that animal and say, like, hey, I'm not a threat. I'm going to get the fuck out of here. You do your thing. But that werewolf is already set on killing him, and he's already set on killing the werewolf. So there's no way that he can kind of get in touch with that animal to talk it down as kind of how you're like,
right, which
explaining
yes, is exactly what I was going to get into, and I guess that's where we just disagree. I think that he would. He's done it a million times before.
He's never fought a werewolf. That's just not true. I have to.
Has he? He's never fought. We've never even seen him fight. Like, sure, he's struggled with something.
Yeah,
to
like
get it to
he's
calm
wrestled
down.
some alligators. Like he's definitely, of all the people, definitely a better fight than Teddy Roosevelt would have been against a werewolf.
Yeah.
Yes,
Could
that's true.
Steve Irwin talk down a werewolf?
Yes, that's what
I think.
yes,
In the
I think.
I think in the situation where it wasn't like
Life or death.
confirmed going to be a fight to the death, that he could make his way out of like a werewolf's sight line without being attacked.
Yeah.
Like he could get himself out of that situation.
Here's what I will say. I don't think that Steve Irwin could beat a werewolf without becoming a werewolf. Like he would get scratched or bitten a little bit.
Is that how you become a werewolf?
Yeah, all you got to do is get scratched.
Wait, really?
Yep.
Oh. See,
You don't have to get bit
that.
or something?
No, you can get scratched too. I
So-
mean, that's SWR. That's standard werewolf rules again. But
See, that's interesting. But he wouldn't become it that like one scratch in the fight doesn't instantly make it werewolf versus werewolf. Like that takes some time.
no,
to
no,
develop
it
werewolf.
wouldn't become.
Yeah,
I'm just
it
saying.
has
So
to,
I
like,
think that the
marinate
werewolf
a
would. I
little
think
bit.
that the
Oh,
werewolf
yeah.
would kill him. Still,
Steve Irwin as a werewolf would be pretty nuts. though.
yeah.
That would
Not very
be-
many things could fight Steve Irwin as werewolf. The other thing I was thinking was, I don't even remember.
Steve Irwin as a werewolf could take a grizzly bear.
I think that. I mean, definitely.
He would have a better
closer
shot than a regular
werewolf.
Yo,
yeah.
this is what I was going to say. The other thing, the problem with werewolves is, as we know, like you said, they don't think with reason, right? Like these people that are werewolves wake up as humans
But
again, and they
no
don't know.
animal does.
I
animal.
disagree with
Not
that.
really. It's all instinct. I mean, what?
Yeah,
what
but
is
I
that?
don't
But
even
it's
think
instinct.
I don't even think werewolves act on instinct. I think they act on
They
like
definitely do.
I think they're no, I think they're like a crazed animal.
It's just like mass hysteria.
Yeah, like
I
they will
think.
just
Like they're rabid.
yeah, yes.
Yeah, that's
werewolves
a
are
different-
rabid.
That's a different story. I
Were-
don't think so.
Yes. I don't think that
They're
werewolves
fired
are
up. They're fired up. They're in a frenzy.
I don't think that they're
But
strategic.
that's different.
I guess no. I guess they maybe have a little, but frenzy is a good word.
Yeah.
All right. Regardless, 2-1, you lose.
No,
again.
not true. Matthew,
Yes.
you are going to be so surprised at the Instagram poll on this. Steve, I guarantee you, Steve Irwin on Instagram.
Yeah, but
is
that's
gonna
just
take
due
him
to
out.
But that's
loyalty.
because yes,
That's
this,
a
so
loyalty
this is what I
poll.
say all the time. When you vote on the Instagram post, imagine that somebody has a gun to your head. If you pick the loser, you die because so many people vote based off like merit or like their self the self opinion. You have to vote. Who the fuck do you think is going to win this fight?
And it's Steve Irwin.
It's not Steve Irwin.
It is Steve Irwin.
Vote on that on Instagram, though. I am curious now. I do think I agree with you. A lot of people will vote Steve Irwin
just because.
Because
like,
Yeah, it's fair.
if it wasn't my job to make sure that like the game of who would win of the week stayed true to its form and was played in the purest state, I probably would have picked Steve Irwin because I like Steve Irwin.
right.
But
But
that's
if
not
you
how we
put
play
up
the
a
game.
poll like who wins in a fight, Kobe Bryant or like a rhino, like
People are
I
gonna pick Kobe
guarantee
Bryant.
Kobe wins that poll.
That's crazy.
He
though.
would. Well, no.
Mamba? I might take him
Stop
over
it.
Rhino.
over
Stop it.
Rhino. Over Rhino.
But you see what I mean? There's people out there that would make that argument.